Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this walkthrough of the absolutely stunningly beautiful Rainbow Heart Tarot. This is by Rachel Rosencoter, and before I dive into this, I just have to first give my very heartfelt thank you to two people. Firstly, I want to thank Kasha over at Tarot Map, who I believe posted somewhere on Facebook about this deck. I don't know how this one managed to fly under my radar. I don't know how I didn't find or participate in the Kickstarter, but somehow this one just slipped by me and I didn't notice it, or it didn't catch my attention in the right way or something. But as soon as I saw the post that Kasha made, I was like, how did I miss this? And she's like, you didn't, like it's available. And so Kasha actually did a really beautiful interview with the creator of this deck, Rachel, which I will link in the description box down below, and if I remember also up in the cards, so it's easy for you to find. And it was really great to watch that. Once I knew this deck was on the way, that was the first thing I did, was watch that interview, and it was really, really beautiful done. And thank you so much to Rachel Rosencoter, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, who sent me this deck for review. I cannot tell you how already bonded I feel to this deck, and I haven't had that experience very often. There's only two other times I've had an experience where I felt this almost instantly bonded before I've even worked with the cards before, and that was with the Mons Tarot and This Might Hurt Tarot. So if you know how I feel about those two decks, and you're going to know just how passionately excited I am about this deck, and I've just got it. So if that gives you any indication of what this walkthrough is going to be like, then you're going to probably want to grab something to drink or a little snack, because it's probably going to be a long one. Whenever I'm this passionate about a deck, you guys know I just go on and on and on. So I hope you're here for a long, deep dive into this deck, because I have a lot to say. And that is, again, just based on initial first impressions. I haven't even really dove into the cards yet. Just the first glimpses I've had so far, and I'm really excited. First of all, I really want to talk about the box. This is like me in a tarot deck. Like, it is so absolutely beautiful. Now, there is a retro vibe to the fonts chosen and the art style. Hand painted with love in Portland, Oregon. I had no idea she was that close to me until I got the deck. I love that when you're looking at the artwork, even in the box, you get the feeling like it was originally painted with some metallic. You get that sort of texture of almost like a metallic paint that was used in places in the deck. I love this flaming alchemical heart and the eye in the center and all four elements and the rainbows and the sort of cartoony vibe I get from this art style and the vibrant color. You guys know I respond so well to bright colors. And I will say that bright colors is something you'll immediately notice about this deck. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop because I'm just gushing and I haven't even opened the box. Look at the clouds on the side of the box. Okay. And it's kind of funny, when I first opened this and I saw the little black and white guidebook, I was like, of course, because it's really the cards that matter. The guidebook is small, it's kind of keyword based, but I'll tell you guys, these images from what I've seen so far will speak for themselves. I haven't spent any time with the guidebook yet, but we will look at a sample entry or two just to see what we think. That said, I really, really want to color this guidebook. It looks like it's such a perfect art style for coloring. Oh, that reminds me. There is actually also a Rainbow Heart Tarot coloring book on Rachel's Etsy shop, and I will have all of Rachel's links down below. I will have her link to her Instagram, I'll have a link to her website, I will have a link to the Rainbow Heart Tarot website, and I spent an afternoon after I got this deck actually poring over the other art she has available online, like just to look at things that she sells in prints. And there's a Rainbow Heart Tarot coloring book. That was the point of this conversation, and I may have to get that because I really want to color some of these images. It's just the kind, anyway, okay. I told you it was going to be long, and I'm already off to the races with the babbles, so let's dive in. Oh my god, I love these so much! So I've already taken off the sleeve, and I have already done just a quick flip through of the images, and I'm so in love, I just can't. So, but I'm going to do my real thorough walkthrough, with you guys. I don't know what it was. As soon as this came, I was like, I need to look at it right now. So consider this like a second impressions, but I tried not to spend too much time. I just did a real quick flip through. We're going to go through it in more detail together. Let's zoom in. Okay, wait. Before we zoom in, size. So I have my Centennial Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck here. Let's just do the back so you can see. wider and taller. I believe this deck is 3.5 inches by 5 inches according to her website, and the cardstock is 350 GSM, and it is a really beautifully smooth semi-matte. So you can see there's a tiny bit of like almost like a satin kind of coating on the cards. Oh, I think it says actually a gloss varnish finish. But this, I wouldn't have described this that way. That's obviously what the finish is called, but it feels a lot more matte to me, like a traditional tarot. Like it reminds me of the exact same sort of like gloss you would see on like the Centennial, right? It's like that, just it has a sheen to it. Okay, I'm so excited to talk about the art in these cards. We're gonna dive in right now. I love the size, I love the thin white borders, and I love this bold black, like sort of 70s style retro-ish font. I'm about it. Like it's just, I'm about it. This is such a cool deck. Okay, gushing. Let's dive in. All right, so here we have our Fool. I love that the little dog is literally flying through the air, and I absolutely love that the Fool is about to jump into like a black hole of like absolute nothingness. Like talk about just like going into the unknown. Like the adventure in this card and the joy on the Fool's expression, but all of the classic symbology is there, from the red feather to the white rose to the dog to the bundle on the stick. Like everything's here that we need. The mountains in the background, very beautifully classically done. And yet has its own unique spin with this sort of flaming, this ring of fire with like nothingness, the universe, a star field. Is so much potential. I love the Magician. We have all the tools on the table as well as a set of dice, which I think is beautiful. And we still have the roses and the lilies, just like we're used to seeing. The lemniscate over top. Very Rider-Waite-Smith clone. We have the Ouroboros, or the snake eating its own tail, in the belt. We're getting everything we need, as we would see. Actually, I might as well just like show you what I mean, from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot card, right? And yet it's gone its own way. It's got this like fun art style. And also, I feel like we're closer in. Like if we look at this Magician, right? Or even the Fool. If we look at this Fool, how much further away it feels perspective-wise. These ones are a little bit similar, more similar for perspective. But I really feel like we're much more up close and personal with the characters in the cards. And that's something I really enjoy. Yeah, so I like that. And especially with this High Priestess, really getting that up close and personal vibe. And again, every bit of symbology we need is here. The scroll is there, the pomegranate, the crown on top, the veil, the two pillars. Like everything is here that we would need. I feel like that I would need anyway. I shouldn't speak for everybody else, but it's beautiful. And again, you can see where metallics, I feel like metallic paints were used. And while the cards themselves don't have any metallic spot finishing or anything like that, it's got that like feel of where there was metallic or textured paint used. Really cool. Here's our Empress, and this is a very classic way to depict the divine feminine, right? With all of the abundant breasts. This is something that was common in, I don't know if it's common, but it was definitely something that was depicted in statues of, and I actually learned this from Kasha, the Tarot Maps commentary, when she was interviewing Rachel. But this is the goddess Artemis, or the goddess, I think, what was the other one, Diana? And I actually Googled it because I was like, what? I don't think I've ever seen it. And so I looked up statuary, and sure enough, there was like quite a few statues of goddesses of either Artemis or Diana, and they had this like many-breasted figures. And of course that speaks to abundance, and it speaks to nourishment and fertility, right? And I love the roses here and the lush garden environment, and of course the water flow in the back. Everything, again, all the symbology is here. The wheat is here. The shield is here with Venus. The stars and the crown. I mean, and the Emperor. I like that he's very contained inside this like tower, and you get the feeling like he is the master of his domain, but you also kind of ask yourself, I guess, how big is that domain, right? It's kind of interesting. It makes my intuition go, ooh. And again, we have that in this gold we see, there's that texture. I don't know if you guys, I hope the camera picks it up, but there's that feeling of that was painted originally with like a metallic paint. I bet the originals of these are just stunning to look at. The Hierophant. Very classic. So we're definitely sort of Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but it's also going its own way, which I love. I love this Lovers card so much. I love the connection and the intimacy, and this particular pose, which is very heart to heart, very intimate and close and full of love. I just, oh, there's so much here. We're on a lotus. We have the moon and the sun balanced and in harmony in the background. And again, I'm loving the colors. I love the colors. In the Chariot card, we have a black horse with a white mane, a white horse with a black mane, and again, all the other symbols we need for our Chariot also are here. Everything from the square at the chest, the, oh, what's that called? The, I want to say Shiva Lingam, but that might not be right. Somebody's gonna, I need to stop guessing on these videos, because then people come in and they're like, no, 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 this is what it is, Lisa, which is totally fine if you know what that's called. But I know it represents masculine, feminine. I just love the pleasant expression on this horse's face. This one also has a pleasant expression, but looks a little more intense, I guess. So you get that feeling of dual forces. Love, love, love. I'm just going to say love, love, love after every card, okay? Okay. Here in the Strength card, there is a lion and a woman, and this just makes me feel like somebody who, I feel like the energies in this card are more evenly matched. Whereas I feel like in a lot of Strength cards, the human figure is clearly sort of overpowering the lion. In this case, it feels not even so peaceful, but more evenly matched. There's more of a push-pull to the energy of this card, which I like. Adore this hermit, and I like that the clouds at the feet give you that perspective of height, which is something I didn't notice actually about the Rider-Waite-Smith card for a long time. In fact, it was a discussion with my friend Erica. Oh no, I just threw the card literally across the room. So that's less helpful for showing it to you. Got it. Okay. So here's what the hermit card looks like. And he also is up at the very top of a cliff. You can kind of barely see the cliff there, but it was my discussion with my friend Erica. She pointed this out to me actually. I never realized that this original Rider-Waite-Smith, he's up on the very tippy top of a little cliff overlooking, and these other mountains are in the background. So I like that I like that Rachel captured the height, or the up high perspective of the hermit card. I love this Wheel of Fortune so much. Okay, rainbows make me happy. They really do. All these bright colors make me happy. But I also love that we have the drama comedy kind of thing happening in the background, where you have the smiling mask and the frowning mask, and the idea of there's ups and downs, right? And then you have the zodiacal wheel, which just works. And then we have this Sphinx in the back. This is such a great card. And there's definitely like a very 70s kind of psychedelic feel to these cards, but they're very vibrant, full of life, and like all the symbology. Again, look at these metallic paint accents. I just love that like bit of texture. And I love that the Justice cards, eyes are closed, third eye open, heart feels more open or accessible. So there's almost like a feeling of you get that sense of neutrality with Justice, which I really appreciate. The Hanged Man. Okay, I love this because look, we have all the little cocoons up top and then the butterflies down below. So you know that we're in like a gestation period, right? Where there's an opportunity to evolve. That's part of what's happening here in this Hanged Man moment. One of the most beautiful death cards I think I've ever seen. I don't even have words. It's so powerful, and it really speaks to like the cycle of life in a really beautiful, poignant way. I just think that's really stunningly illustrated. I love that the Temperance angel is juggling like a rainbow flow of liquid here, and the fact that that liquid is also in that sort of textured sort of paint. I don't know why, but I'm just absolutely loving that sense of texture in some of the mediums that she was using. I wish I knew enough about art to know for sure. It could even just be the canvas texture that's peeking through. In fact, I do see that canvas texture in other places when I really look for it. But there's certain places where it just makes things look more metallic. Okay, I absolutely love this devil. And the reason I love this devil is because if you look, the devil itself is shackled. So you get the feeling like this is definitely someone who is bound by their own stuff, by their own issues, by their own processes, by their own patterns. I think that really speaks to the impact of shadow, the impact of not acknowledging the shadow and kind of letting it control us, that sort of thing. Really, really cool. Classic-y, is that even a word? Classic Tower was what I was going to say. I actually kind of appreciate that we don't see any leaping humans in this image. I don't know why. You get the battering of the water, the lightning bolts hitting. There's definitely destruction happening here and mayhem, but there's something kind of beautiful about this card without the humans falling upside down that I kind of like. I don't think it's nice washed or anything. I just think it's really well done. I adore the contrast in this card. The very darkness of her skin with that golden hair and just the way it looks like literal flowing gold. Like her hair is made of the same material as the stars and as the jugs, because those all feel very cohesive to me. And just this sort of almost negative imagery. Not by negative I mean like photography, like a film negative strip, kind of like that reverse polarity. I don't know what the right word is for that. I've lost my words, but I love that in like the flowers here on the side, and it's very classic Rider-Waite-Smith, and yet there's this just beautiful contrast that brings all of my focal point. I guess it draws the eye to the gold and the light in this card in a really neat way. The moon is a like legit divine feminine kind of energy, right? We're definitely seeing cycle here, and Rachel speaks about how she, she's talking about the moon cycles and all other types of cycles, and we talk about like the flow as well, right? Like the divine feminine flow. And then here we have the crayfish or the lobster coming up out of the sea. We still have the dog and the wolf, pyramids and castles. There's this feeling of sort of duality, and like, what are we actually seeing? I don't know. I feel like there's a real mystery, and where the eye goes here is just really intense in a cool way. Love that. The sun. Love me some sunflowers in the sun. Judgment. No complaints. Again, I kind of like that we're not seeing the actual people rising up. It's like you can put yourself in this image a little bit better. Just freaking love the colors. I really want to color these images, not gonna lie. Love the world. All 4 elements. We have our dancing figure here. There's a Shiva feel to this posture. I don't know if I've seen that in other decks. I must have. But I love that. I actually really love that. And we're into the minor arcana. Okay, I'm going to pull these out of the way so our stack doesn't get too big. So we have the Ace of Wands. No complaints. The Two of Wands. The Three of Wands. I love the ship and the playing dolphins. There's a real vibrancy and uplifting kind of energy to this card. With the dolphins just add something to it. And also the bow of this ship looks a little bit like it could be 2 hands, like making hearts, like that. I really like that about it. I don't know why, but I do. The Four of Wands. I like that we have a circle of women here, like sort of, you get the, this just reminds me of like sort of ritual, like it makes me think, this whole card makes me think of Beltane, which is interesting. I don't know that I've made that association before, and I think it's the way the ribbons are tied onto the wands here, and the plant bower. I don't know, there's something here that just makes me think of Beltane and the Beltane fires, and oh, love it. The Five of Wands. Okay, I love this because here we have 5 hands all holding staffs, and at the end of each staff is a different large wild cat. So we have, I think, a panther. I want to say that's a jaguar, a cougar, a lion, and a tiger. I might be wrong about that one. And so they're all ferocious, they're all wild, they're all strong, and each has its own individual strengths, right? It's not about necessarily which one wins, but you get that feeling, that charged feeling of that competition, or that kind of conflict caused from trying to one-up each other, that sort of thing. Love. Classic Six of Wands. I love that we see a feminine figure depicted here. I really enjoy the Phoenix for the Seven of Wands. I feel like the Seven of Wands is often a moment when we're feeling like the odds are stacked against us, but we're sort of handling it, right? We're standing our sacred ground. And I don't know that I've ever seen the Phoenix depicted in this particular card. I've seen it in Judgment, and I've seen it, I'm trying to think, in Death. I'm trying to think where else I've seen the Phoenix rising from the ashes. But really the Seven of Wands, it works as well, right? A lot of times in that Seven of Wands moment, we're feeling like we've been really kind of defeated, or we're feeling like the chips are down, right? And yet we're rising up anyway. And it reminds me of this saying which says that it's okay if you fall down and lose your spark. Just make sure that when you get back up, you rise as the whole damn fire. Anyway, love that. The Eight of Wands. I love the momentum and the speed here. I love that we have this like single sort of solitary like tower over in the far distance, almost like this was where the, like, I'm getting that sense of messages, and like maybe that's where the message of the information is coming from, is from that distant tower. Nine of Wands. I love how, like, instead of seeing somebody who's really beaten and like feeling really beaten down and really just struggling to hold their ground, you see somebody who's like seriously handling it like a boss, right? Like, I'm going to, it's almost like I'm picturing this like magical priestess energy, and she's risen all of these sunflowers to guard whatever it is that she's guarding or defending, and she's got this like endless reserves of energy. I don't feel that sort of feeling of like really struggling in this card that I'm used to seeing. And then the Ten of Wands. And I love how here we see a very strong masculine figure who is struggling. It's like there is no such thing as a load that anybody can carry, right? Everybody has their breaking point. That's kind of what I'm seeing in this image. The Page of Wands. I love her. She's like out in the desert, not afraid of the snake at her feet, just like very bold. The Knight of Wands. This is seriously giving me like Morgan Greer tarot kind of vibes with how close up the court cards are. And I love this with the flames in the back and the dragon on the helm. The Queen of Wands. Absolutely. She's got the lion at her brooch for her cape cloak or her cape pin. Here, the snake climbing up the wand, the sunflower. Love the rainbow over her head. And the King of Wands. We have this like lemniscate right at the tip of the wand. Love, love, love. And we're into the cups now. Ace of Cups, absolutely beautiful offering from Spirit. And I like that the bird is sort of in the background and the lotus is still here. Even though we're very close up, the symbols are still there. Oh, I love this Two of Cups. Okay, so lots here. But the first thing that I feel like here, we have this sort of alchemical flaming heart in both figures. I like that the gender could be ambiguous here. We do have a figure that looks more feminine and a figure that looks more masculine, but of course we could still swap that out a little bit in whatever way we want. I mean, maybe not whatever way we want. It's definitely still showing masculine, feminine duality and energy here, but I think there's room to play, I guess is what I'm trying to say. More importantly than that, though, I think one of the things that sort of stands out to me is it's as if these two people are recognizing each other by heart. They're looking within. Their attraction is to what's inside, right? I'm getting the feeling that it's more than something superficial, which is really beautiful. Love the sun and the moon in the sky. The gold and the silver cup. Three of Cups. Beautiful, playful, supportive, gorgeous. The Four of Cups. Very Rider-Waite-Smith here for sure. Nothing really to add. It feels very like, very Rider-Waite-Smith, although we do look like we're in autumn here. Same here, Five of Cups. Again, very Rider-Waite-Smith, but just kind of up close and personal. The Six of Cups. I really like here how each plant is holding, or each pot is holding a slightly different plant, and also the feeling like you can't tell who's giving the flower pot to the other person. Like is the person in the blue shirt handing it to the person in the purple shirt, or the other way around? And it gives you that room for interpretation. The Seven of Cups. I love this. There's so many different things you could choose. I like that there's a figure up here. It almost makes me feel like there's like little hearts coming out. And I think that Rachel said that she felt like this was representative of, like, are you going to choose love or stability, adventure, etc. But I almost felt like, too, this could also be a symbol for, do you choose yourself, or do you choose, you know, to focus on home, or do you choose this, you know? So I felt like that was my first intuitive hit on that image, was like, is that representing the self? The Eight of Cups. Sometimes I don't know how I feel when the figure is walking towards us, because I'm so used to seeing, like, say in the Rider-Waite-Smith, how in the Eight of Cups the figure is actually walking, away. But you can tell, interestingly, that the perspective here is different, because we can still see the same boots, we still have the same red cloak, but we can see who that person is, I guess, as they're walking away from this established stack of cups. Interesting. I love this Nine of Cups. If you guys don't know by now, Nine of Cups is one of those cards that I feel like I kind of have to like, or at least be okay with. It's one of my favorite cards of the well, it's my favorite Minor Arcana card, and I always look to this card to see how it's depicted, and I love this with all the little lamps around and the lotus flowers and the contentedness on her little lily pad here. That works for me. And the Ten of Cups. I mean, it's the Rainbow Heart Tarot, and this is a very rainbow card. I love it. I love the colors in this deck. They're so vibrant and beautiful. The Page of Cups. Love the roses and the jumping dolphins. I like that it's dolphins instead of a fish. I don't know why, but I do. It kind of captures that playful vibe. The Knight of Cups. He's got the little crab here, which makes me think of my astrological sign Cancer, but it also just makes me think of, like, that sort of water vibe on his shoulder there. The Queen of Cups. Her cup is open, and there's this, like, vibrancy above her cup. It almost makes you feel like she's being kind of magical, like she's hovering something above her cup. And then the King of Cups has his heart in his cup, and it's very visible there. I think that's great. And then we have, like, almost a little fox or wolf kind of emblem at his heart. That might be some other creature, but that's making me think fox or wolf. Into the Swords. We have the Ace of Swords with the red and the white rose. There's a nod to alchemy there, I feel like. The Two of Swords, classic and beautiful. The Three of Swords. That looks like an orchid above the swords. I'd be curious about the symbology of that. In fact, let's just cheat and check the guidebook to see if it says anything about the Three of Swords. I'm curious. Feeling the heart opened up by sorrow, honoring your wounds, evolving through suffer, transmutation, release. So it doesn't specifically mention why different things are depicted in the artwork, so I'm not sure of the symbology of that. It might even be an iris. I might be getting an orchid and an iris mixed up. But classic, kind of classic Three of Swords. I love this Four of Swords so much. You have this like, you have this classic sort of jousting knight looking knight, right? And I love that there's a heart on the armor. You get a real sort of softness or almost like passivity to this particular warrior. You have the Four Swords around the corners of this like sort of crystal that he's meditating in, he or she is meditating in. I think that's really interesting, and it's a very peaceful Four of Swords, which I like. The Five of Swords. Oh, the feels though. All the swords are broken. This, okay. I did a quick, like I mentioned, I did do a quick little cheater flip through of the cards, and this just is everything to me. This is everything to me. Because instead of being ferried away, she's ferrying herself away. And I think that's so powerful. Love. Really enjoy the snake here and the Seven of Swords. I spent some time looking at this Ace of Swords when I did my initial flip through on my own, and I will say, at first I was like, wow, she really looks like she's pinned down, but then I started looking, and like, she has to have physically spread her legs for each of her ankles to be touching these swords, right? Like, and when you look, all she has to do is move just the tiniest bit, and she's not touching almost all of these. So easy for her to get out of it. It looks really bound up, but she's not really. And you can tell that this ribbon around her is very loose. So yeah, I just had to spend a minute with that one looking at it. Head-on image here for the Nine of Swords. Very Rider-Waite-Smith, but like as we're used to in the Rider-Waite-Smith, the perspective is different, right? Like in the Rider-Waite-Smith, when we have the Nine of Swords, we get this sort of side view. Here we're up close and personal with that worry and that anxiety. The Ten of Swords. There's so much like Harlequin-like duality to this card. The side that's down, eyes is open. The side that's up, eyes closed. There's darkness down low and a more lightness up above. Above, it could be that just that she's tired and sleeping. Below, you see more worry and sort of trauma happening. So I feel like there's a lot of ways to look at this card. I like that you do still get that glimpse of sunlight off in the distance. Page of Swords. This literally is giving me She-Ra vibes. I mean, to be fair, I was watching She-Ra this morning on the day that I'm filming this video. I don't know why, but just giving me She-Ra vibes. Knight of Swords. Look at the expression on the horse. There's like a real ferocity there. Queen of Swords. Interesting that she has the heart, the alchemical flaming heart here with the sword through it. Really interesting to me. The King of Swords. Ace of Pentacles. I love that she's got the pomegranate. I love when yin-yang symbols show up in cards in appropriate places like this. This is a very almost Marseille looking Two of Pentacles. Love the yin-yang though. It really speaks to balance. And there's a lot that you can jump off of that intuitively if you're comfortable with that symbol. The Three of Pentacles. I love the bees, the worker bees making the honey. The Four of Pentacles. The Five. A lot of emotion in this particular Five of Pentacles. It's like really close up with the emotion. The Six of Pentacles. Balancing the scales. Here you do have a feeling that this spirit hand is the one giving and this other hand is receiving. Love the Seven of Pentacles, and I love that we have the chakras here, and she's actually holding is that the crown chakra? Yeah, that's the crown chakra that she's sort of holding up, and her belly is full and pregnant. And pregnancy is, of course, a really wonderful metaphor for the Seven of Pentacles, that energy of waiting and seeing how things are going to turn out. But also this idea of like, how balanced are you in the meantime, right? Like, are you attending to your energy body while you're waiting for all this other stuff? You could still be doing some of that inner work. sometimes we're at a place where our outer work is paused, but we could still be doing the inner work. I think that's what I'm getting from that image. I adore this Eight of Pentacles so much. This actually makes me think of a style of art, and I wish I knew the artist. Somebody might. There's an oracle deck by Priestess Moon called Oracle of the Unicorns, I think it's called, or the Unicorn, Spirit of the Unicorn, or I wish I could remember the name. I'll try to remember. But it's got this kind of funky unicorn kind of style, this kind of funky art style to it. Anyway, that's not what this is. It's just that the vibrancy of colors and the like kind of abstractness to the faces just made me think of that image for some reason. But I love that there's like these like masks being worked on and perfected, and each one is different. So even though you may be doing the same thing over and over again, that doesn't mean you can bring a little bit of creativity to the process or to the experience. I don't know. I think there's a lot to read there. And the Nine of Pentacles, very luxurious and kind of wealthy looking. I love the peacock in the Nine of Pentacles. I think that really works symbolically. The Ten of Pentacles. Okay, I feel like I'm of mixed feelings about this. We still have the Kabbalah. Like I said, I love the card, but we still have the Kabbalah, but I feel like I don't know enough about I feel like the colors are supposed to mean something in the positions that they're in, and I suspect it's a Kabbalah reference, but because I'm not as well versed in Kabbalah at the time I'm filming this video, I feel like I'm missing something when I'm looking at the card, and I wish, this is the one spot where I really wish that our guidebook described the artwork. I don't think it does here either. Nope, speaks to keywords, long-term success, permanence, lasting foundation. But I want to know why these colors were picked. Because I feel like there's a deeper message here hidden in the choice of the colors and how they are here. I even tried like mapping it. I was like, okay, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I was like, is that the paths of the Kabbalah? I wish I knew. If you are looking at this image and you know Kabbalah really well and you like immediately know, let me know. Or maybe this is just a random scattering of colors for the sake of color and I'm thinking about it too hard, but I just feel like there's something here I'm missing, and it's like, I want to know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm just trying to make it be something when it's nothing. But if it's something, let me know in the comments if you can figure out what it might be. Page of Pentacles here. I love again that she is like sort of gathering flowers. I shouldn't say again. I love that she's gathering flowers from the cactus, because you feel like she's willing to maybe put in really hard work for not necessarily a huge reward, but for the sake of a job well done, which is something I think is true of the Page of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles here looks incredibly strong and dependable. The Queen of Pentacles, I love the energy of this card generally, but I like that she's sort of offering something, because I feel like the Queen of Pentacles people I've known in my life have always been very generous and are constantly like, offering you a cup of tea or making sure that you have what you need, and I get that vibe here. And our King of Pentacles, looking like he is established, well established in his kingdom. He's got his big castle and his grapes being a sign of like abundance and wealth. Totally works. Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's zoom out. I've got to shuffle. I really do. And I really need to edge this deck. No, I don't need to edge this deck actually, because it's got white borders. And I don't typically like to edge decks that have white borders. But man, look at all these colors. It is a little tempting. I'm not going to lie. You know what would have been amazing with this deck is one of those like pearly holographic edges. Oh my gosh, that would have taken this deck to the next level. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's beautifully produced. I'm just being a little spoiled brat now. But honestly, I'm in love with this deck. Now you guys know the more vibrant a deck is, it's like the more I want to just reach for it and play with it. I'm just a sucker for color. And this deck really goes like, does not hold back with the color. And I would say the only other thing in my collection that maybe kind of reminds me of this deck, but is I think a little bit in its own sort of category, is my Bad Girls or Bad Girl Tarot. I'm going to grab that actually. Bear with me. Got it. I feel like it's because this deck also has a bit of a retro feel to it. But now that I'm holding them up side by side, they are very different. I'm going to just give this one a shuffle. We'll do a couple side-by-side flip throughs, but I feel like almost like you could work with these two decks together as like if you do a kind of reading where you want to look at, say, light and shadow or something like that. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like there's like, this has a lot of sass, and this just is, this is a very well-rounded deck, and this has a lot of like that sass and like kind of, I don't know, but they're both really beautiful, like, oh my gosh, okay, sorry. By the way, it shuffles beautifully. Again, they're larger cards. They're 3.5 by 5, so more oracle size. I have bigger hands, no trouble with the shuffle. Totally works for me. All right, I just needed to mix them up a bit. Let's do a little side by side so you can kind of get a feel. And I think they're actually a similar size. Oh, they're exactly the same. Oh, no, not exactly the same size. Bad Girl Tarot is just a tiny bit bigger. But if you like one, I think you'd probably like the other because they've got kind of a... They're very different. They're illustrated differently. Oh, look at this. Page of Wands, Queen of Wands. Look at the interplay between these two. These would be fun to read together, I feel like. Don't you think? Like, I feel like this one definitely goes naughty. Like a little bit naughty, a little bit sassy. And the art style is definitely different. They're illustrated and depicted differently. But that's kind of fun to see kind of what they look like, right? That High Priestess reminds me a little bit of the... Nine of Cups? Temperance card? Oh, man. How fun. This one I feel like gets me with... They're both bold colors, but I feel like this one goes much more like multicolored in every card, whereas this one kind of goes with color themes. Like this has got a very green and brown vibe. This has got a very brown and gray vibe. Whereas this deck definitely goes all over the place with palette, which I love. Fun. I would actually enjoy playing with these together, right? But I feel like this one goes a little bit more modern. A little bit more modern in spite of feeling kind of retro. I don't know, man. I love decks like this. I love the personality. I love how different they are. I love how they go their own way. Okay, let's grab a card and pull one more message from the guidebook just so you get a little bit more of a feel for how the guidebook, the little white book, I should say, reads. All right. I love this cardstock too. It feels really nice. All right, so we have the Two of Swords. So let's take a look. So as you can see, you get little black and white thumbnails of the cards. But this is such a great, like, Rider-Waite-Smith clone kind of deck. I don't think you need the guidebook, if that makes sense. But here it says, balancing, mirroring, weighing options, difficult decisions, self-defense, inner vision, internal landscape, self-deception, spiritual training ground, guardedness, protecting the heart, polarity, duality, truce, and impasse. So that's the kind of like messages you get from the little white book. They're basically like keyword messages. Really, really, really beautiful. About this deck, the Rainbow Heart Tarot is a Rider-Waite clone deck consisting of 22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana cards divided into the 4 classic suits. Every image in the deck was hand painted in acrylic, gouache, and gouache, I forget how you say that, and ink on cold press watercolor paper. And I think it's actually the texture of the watercolor paper that comes through in places and makes it look like it's got that texture, that metallicness to it. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm picking up on in places. Gosh, this is vibrant for acrylic gouache, oh gosh. Oh, that was an unintended pun. When I said, oh gosh, that's funny. Anyways, I'm sure somebody will chime in and add the information about the paint, but it looks like the images are so well saturated with color. It's hard for me to imagine somebody having painted this. Like the lines are really smooth and crisp. Wow. So I'm enamored. I'm enamored with this deck, you guys. I really want the coloring book. All right, let me set this aside. Let's do a little fan. If you love color, I think you're going to just gush like I gush over these cards. I think you're going to really, really love them. All right, let's give them a fan. Ooh, oh, gotta love a cardstock that's smooth and shuffles and fans like that. Like, what more could I ask for? Okay, thank you again so much for joining me for this walkthrough. I'm really, really excited to be able to share this with you. I think this is going to be a super fun deck to play with. I cannot wait. Let me know what you think down below. Again, is this a deck you would spring for? I will have all the links down below. I don't mean to tempt you, but I kind of do. Thank you again so much to Rachel for letting me review this deck. I'm really excited that you were able to send this to me. I'm over the moon. I'm like very, very bonded to this deck already, and it's definitely not going to be going anywhere out of my collection. Thank you again so much, everybody. Please be sure and like this video if you enjoyed the walkthrough. Subscribe if you're new here and see more of my videos in your feed. I do lots of videos about tarot, oracle, witchcraft, self-worth, and all of that good stuff. Click the little notification bell if you want to be notified of all my future videos. And remember, if you want to book a reading with me, you can always do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thank you so, so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.